Franklin releases her new city budget proposal. Clear News reporter Heather Thompson joins us live from Midtown Atlanta with more on that story. Heather.
Well, Steve, the mayor has to come up with $90 million to balance the city's budget, a task Mayor Shirley Franklin says is not going to be easy. She's already cut $40,000 from her own salary and is now looking at some other options. She says she hasn't decided yet if she's going to cut more city jobs, but the money has to come from somewhere. The mayor's looking at a bunch of options. The city faces expenses of about $480 million a year and revenue of about $390 million. So you do the math. Definitely we're in the hole. The mayor's looking at raising property taxes as well as consolidating some overlapping departments.
Challenging the departments next week to think differently about how they provide services, not so much different services, but differently about how they provide services and how we are going to be able to maintain the level of city services at the same time we address revenue.
And those cuts will not come from the police or fire departments. The mayor is again going to look at possibly raising property taxes and the MARTA tax. The proposal comes out today. It then goes to the city council, and there should be final approval, Steve, by February 18th.
Okay, a lot of people waiting to hear on what she and the city council decide to do from here. Heather Thompson, thanks very much for that live report.
Helen, that seems to be the general consensus of people we spoke to this morning. They're concerned about the economy. They want an update on the war on terrorism, and they also want to know what's going to happen with big business, and the example being Enron. So people are sitting and watching and waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll have a bigger audience than normal for one of these speeches tonight, Heather.
You know, I thought about that. I want to know what the numbers are because I wonder if they will be record high as well. I think it'll be interesting to see the viewership.
Heather Thompson at the airport. Thank you.
News reporter Heather Thompson joins us live once again from the MARTA station in Buckhead with more on the story. Heather?
Well, Steve, anytime a public hearing was held on this, it got pretty ugly. Riders are angry at MARTA for possibly cutting many of the routes that people depend on for transportation. A lot of people saying that MARTA pulled them in with the MARTA is SMARTA campaign, only to turn around and they feel that MARTA's saying, MARTA's SMARTA if you can catch them. They're going to vote today on...
News reporter Heather Thompson joins us live once again from Midtown with the latest on that story. Heather.
Well, Steve, the mayor has to come up with $90 million to balance the city's budget. She's already cut $40,000 out of her own salary and is now looking at possibly raising property taxes as well as consolidating some city service departments that seem to overlap. Now, the mayor admits she has her work cut out for her. The city faces expenses as high as $480 million and revenue of about $390 million. The mayor says she's not willing to say yet if more jobs will be cut, but consolidating those overlapping services could eliminate some positions. And the mayor says that's not going to happen. She's not going to cut jobs from police departments or fire departments. Now, if she does raise taxes, you may see it in property taxes as well as the MARTA tax. Budget proposal comes out today and then it goes to the city council. And Steve, we should have final approval by February 18th, so we'll know where those cuts are coming from by then.
She's a pretty good juggler so far.
So far, I have to say, I'm surprised that she cut her own salary. I thought that was a pretty honorable move.
Very impressive. Heather Thompson in Midtown. Thanks for the Clear News reporter Heather Thompson joins us live from Hartsfield International Airport with the latest on the story.
Well, that's right, Steve. Delta finds out today if a majority of its 19,000 flight attendants voted yes to the Flight Attendants Union. Steve, this being a pretty historical vote in that it's the largest organized vote in the last 30-plus years. Now, Delta obviously hoping that its flight attendants do not pass the vote. Its executives say that no matter what, it will change the climate at Delta with its workers. Now, the flight attendants who support the union say they support Delta as well. They just want to know that their rights are protected. Flight attendants have gone as far as asking passengers to support the vote.
So we want you, when you're flying on Delta Airlines, we want you to ask your flight attendants, have you cast your ballots? Are you ready to elect a legally binding contract to your company?
And Steve, Delta being the least unionized of all the major carriers, it's 10,000 pilots being the only larger worker group represented by the union. Now, back in 2000, some ramp workers tried to unionize, but they were easily defeated. We'll find out today if the flight attendants have the same fate. Steve.
All right, Heather Thompson at Hartsfield. Thanks. Reporter Heather Thompson joins us live from Hartsfield International Airport with the latest on that story. Heather?
That's right, Steve. Delta finds out today if a majority of its 19,000 flight attendants vote yes to the AFA. That's the Association of Flight Attendants Union. Now, Steve, this being a very historic vote in the fact that it is the largest organized union vote in the last 30-plus years. Delta hoping that its flight attendants show loyalty to the company and vote no. They say that it will change the climate at Delta with its workers if the vote passes. Flight attendants who support the union say they also support Delta, but they want to guarantee that their rights are protected. Flight attendants have gone as far as asking passengers to support the vote. As of today, Delta is the least unionized of the major larger carriers. Delta having 10,000 of its pilots in a union. In 2000, some ramp workers, about 11,000 ramp workers, Steve, tried to unionize. That attempt failed miserably. Delta's hoping that the flight attendants will have the same results. We find out today, and we'll be sure to let our viewers know as soon as those results are available to us.
Heather Thompson at Hartsfield International. Thanks.
Clear News reporter Heather Thompson joins us live from that school with a preview. Heather?
Continuing his southern tour, the president heads to Atlanta today. First touching down at 11:30 at Hartsfield Airport and then heading to the Marriott Marquis in downtown. You may want to avoid that area as the presidential motorcade makes its way to Booker T. Washington High School in southwest Atlanta. The president's promoting his Teach for America program and Project Grad. That stands for Graduation Really Achieves Dreams. The program offers a college prep curriculum, summer workshops, and the promise of scholarships. Now, the Teach for America program is a program that recruits top college students who didn't necessarily major in education to teach in low-income urban schools.
I want to be a teacher or a professor or something at college, teaching science, give other kids the opportunity that I had to learn in school and go back and do the same thing my teacher did for me.
Now, Helen, there are 5 Teach for America teachers here at Booker T. Washington High School. They get special training, and they are also required to give a 2-year commitment. And supporters of the Teach for America program say that these college students, college graduates, really bring enthusiasm and a different spin to the classroom, and they really help kids like Oliver get inspired to want to become teachers.
Heather, I am betting there is going to be some serious security out there today.
Oh yes, oh yes. Big time security here. And if you are traveling in, like I said before, the downtown area, anytime the presidential motorcade comes in, it's like a rolling roadblock. So you really do want to avoid it. I've gotten stuck in it before up in New Jersey and New York, and I'll tell you, it is not pretty.
Yeah, I got caught in the last one here in Atlanta not too long ago. Thanks, Heather Thompson at Booker T. Washington.
Clear News reporter Heather Thompson joins us now from southwest Atlanta with more on the story. Heather?
Well, Steve, a big day for some high school students here in Atlanta as the president continues his tour of the South. Coming to Atlanta today, Air Force One expected to touch down at 11:30. The president will then head to the Marriott in downtown Atlanta before coming to Booker T. Washington High School in southwest Atlanta. It's all part of the president's promoting his Teach for America program and Project Grad, and that stands for Graduation Really Achieves Dreams. The program offers a college prep curriculum, summer workshops, and the promise of a scholarship. Now, Teach for America is a program that recruits top college students who didn't necessarily major in education to teach in low-income urban schools.
Youth to the staff, and they have an exuberance about teaching, an enthusiasm about teaching, a willingness to learn.
I like it. There are definitely days that I go home and say why, but I like it and I'm going to stick with it.
And teachers are required to stick with it for 2 years. There are 5 Teach for America teachers here at Booker T. Washington High School in Atlanta, and I'm sure the president is going to tip his hat to those teachers who are choosing to help encourage and develop America's youth.
No doubt about it. Promises to be an exciting day. Heather Thompson in southwest Atlanta. Thanks. We'll provide.
Helen Smyrna, please tell us, a little girl was snatched last night while playing at a playground. Now, please tell us, they do have some good leads, but at this time, her attacker is still on the loose. The little girl was playing at the playground at Madison Station Apartments in Smyrna when she was approached by a man. The man grabbed the little girl's arm, pulled her into the woods and tried to sexually assault her. She was able to free herself. She ran back to the apartment complex to safety of a family member friend.
We have been canvassing some of the residents in the area. We have been given some information that maybe the individual that did this had been in the apartment complex at different parts during the day, so maybe he had been around a little bit before.
And Helen, police need the community's help in finding this suspect. They describe him as a black man in his 30s. He was last seen wearing a red bandana or a red hat. If you have any information at all, please call the Smyrna Police Department and help them out with this investigation.
So this is a stranger to the little girl, it sounds like.
At this point, we're not sure. Apparently, the suspect was lurking around the apartment complex during the day. That is one of the leads that they are following. But we do not know if he was in fact a stranger or if he in fact lived in the apartment complex. Still, that's under investigation.
Okay, thank you.
Heather Thompson joins us live from Smyrna with the latest on the story.
Steve, it's a parent's worst nightmare. A man grabbed a little girl while she was playing outside at the playground in her apartment complex. He then tried to drag her into the woods and sexually assault her. Amazingly, this little girl, who's only 7 years old, was able to fight the attacker off and run for help. Smyrna police tell us that they're searching for a man who tried to sexually assault a little girl at the Madison Station